So this is my December 2024 update on the latest saving news and account rates, the best options out there for you. I'll get to those in a moment. But first of all, let's take you through some of those big stories. The first one is a repercussion of something which happened a few weeks ago in November. In early November, the Bank of England met and they decided to reduce the base rate of interest from 5% to 4.75%. And as expected, this has meant a number of accounts have fallen, particularly those ones which are explicitly linked to the base rate, the tracker ones, a lot of big names there. So Chase, Crew, Tandem and Chip, their rates all fell because they were linked to the base rates. They went down by 0.25 percentage points. In fact, in some instances, they went down by a bit more than that. Crew, for example, changed the rate that it follows the tracker by, so that went down by even more. But broadly speaking, they went down and loads of variable rate ones down. In fact, the shorter term savings accounts, whether they're a easy access, a notice account, or a 3-month, 6-month, 1-year fix, they've all come down from where we were a month ago. Again, I'll take you through the top ones in a moment. However, although the rate was cut in November, and I've covered this before if you guys have already listened to or watched my content talking about inflation and what might be happening with the base rate as a result of both the budget, but also the election in America and also uncertainty across the world in a number of oil producing regions, it is looking unlikely now that we will see another base rate cut this month in December. Previously, that was widely expected we would see another base rate cut. That's unlikely to happen now. Could happen, and we'll tell you on the 19th of December exactly what is decided. So make sure you do keep an eye out for that content when we release it on the day. It'll be a couple of hours after the Bank of England do meet, if not sooner. As soon as I can get that out, I will. So it's unlikely we'll see one in December. And it's also unlikely that we will see as many cuts as we previously thought by the end of 2025. Again, still going 12 months out now, more than 12 months. So things can change. They change all the time. At the moment, the thinking is that the base rate might only be down to, let's say, 4% by the end of next year in 12 months' time. 3 more cuts to happen over the 12 months. And that has also, that change from where previously they thought there'd be more cuts, maybe 3.75, maybe 3.5, maybe some people were talking about going down to 3% by the end of next year. That has meant the banks have been sort of reappraising some of the longer term fixes. So your 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5-year fixes. The top ones of those are all up slightly on a month ago. Still down broadly on where we were 3 or 4 months ago. It's way down on where we were over a year ago. But just up a little bit, a few of them up a bit. And that is probably, although not definitively, probably because these long-term fixes are based on predictions on where the rate is going to go. So they'd already factored in reducing those long-term fixes on the idea that the base rate would fall more than it is now thought to. So they've nudged up a little bit. Again, I'll take you through the top options later on. So we've seen shorter-term accounts, savings accounts, drop in their rate, and we've seen longer-term accounts go up slightly. Again, what you do here is going to be very much down to yourselves on how much you think what they're saying right now is going to be what actually happens. Again, it could well be that it changes all again and suddenly there are more cuts predicted and those those longer-term fixes reduce further rather than going up, they go down more, or maybe it gets slower even more in terms of when those cuts might happen. And we see another increase in some of those longer-term fixes. It's really hard to say for certain. What you've got to go for is what you feel most comfortable with. Do you want to stick with these short-term accounts, which are paying more than the longer ones, although on the basis of they're probably going to go down in the new year, if not sooner? Or do you go for ones which, okay, they're a bit lower now, but they're going to stay at that rate because you've locked them in for 3, 4, 5 years, but on the proviso that if things do change in that time, you might miss out. I'll take you through the top ones in a moment. What else to share with you? That's the main thing. Let's talk more about some of those cuts to the easy access accounts. And the big one here, which I think a lot of you are going to be probably noticed already, an email that might have come into your account at the weekend, and if not, might be a bit more concerned about this, is the cut by Trading212 of both its cash ISA rate and its uninvested cash rate. Now, these have been offering 5.17% for the last month or so, maybe a bit more than that, and we've been up near the top or at the top for a good long period. They're putting basically some marketing budget behind this account and try and get people into Trading212 as an investment app with a temptation of a high savings rate. Well, they have reduced from 5.17% to 4.9%, which is going to be probably a disappointment for many of you who may have only just signed up to get hold of that higher rate. Now, as you'll see later on, 4.9% is not a bad rate. It's still one of the better options out there. And the Trading212 ISA is flexible, which means you can take money out and put it back in without impacting your ISA allowance for the year. The £20,000 allowance was good like that. And it also allows transfers in to get that 4.9% rate. So it's not a bad option at all. So I wouldn't necessarily be thinking, right, take my money out and try and put it into the very small number of ones which pay more than that right now. But it's a sign there that they're going, right, we're not going to play this game anymore at the top. We've done that little battle with Moneybox to try and be the top paying one. Let's just go back down now. It's still a decent rate and see what happens. This was a surprise, not just to you, but to me as well, because just a few days before that, Plum surpassed that rate with their cash ISA. They put it up to 5.18%. So I was thinking, rather than Trading212 dropping their rate, I thought they and Moneybox might compete and go above that. Could we get it back up to 5.2% or something like that? Obviously didn't happen. So the moment the Plum one, 5.81%, if you're looking for the highest paying easy access account, yes, it's an ISA, but it's the highest paying one. That is your top option there. When we have spoken about this before, when the Plum ISA first launched, when it was at the top of those ISA tables, I just want to remind you, you may have forgotten some of the conditions that come with this account, because 5.18 sounds great. And again, it's better than most offer options out there, but this is a limited access account. You can only withdraw money from this account 3 times. If you take your money out more than 3 times, you drop down to a far, far lower rate, which is not going to be anywhere near what you can get elsewhere. Drops down to 2.5%. So this is limited access. You don't need to get that money out that often, but maybe if you do, no more than 3 times to get that top rate. That top rate is also only for a year. There is a bonus included with that, which will disappear after 12 months. So then it will drop down. But again, move your money around in 12 months is not a bad thing to be doing anyway, just to ensure you are getting the best possible rate. But you certainly will want to after 12 months with Plum. Also, it's not flexible, so you can't take your money in and out, but that would be implicit within it being a limited access account. But the other thing to know here is this is just for brand new accounts and new deposits, and it being an ISA up to £20,000. You cannot, if you can transfer into the Plum ISA, but you will get a lower rate. You get 3.79%. So this is only going to be for new deposits for brand new Plum customers for the first time, with those other caveats I mentioned. But if that works for you, it is the top paying one right now. It is variable. It could change at any time, but it's certainly one to think about. While we are talking about ISAs, I want to just share something else with you, which was brought to my attention by a member of our Facebook group. If you're not already a member, please do come and join there. It's a great place to ask questions. Either myself and the team will get back to you, or there are, I think it's 13 or 14,000 of you in there now who will answer and help and support. And it's a really great resource for information as well. But they went to transfer out their chip ISA to another provider, actually to Trading212 as it was. They got a warning saying that if they do this, they transferred out their ISA, the chip ISA would be closed down and they would not be able to ever open up a new one. Now, this is not unheard of. They do happen sometimes that when accounts are closed, they won't let you reopen it. So Chase is another example of a current account where if you do close the account down for whatever reason, via a full switch or just closing it down, you can't open up another one. There are issues around that. And I think it's technological rather than anything else. But this chip one is if you want to transfer your money out of the ISA, you can only do a full transfer. You can't do a partial transfer. It's only a full ISA. And if you do that to get a better rate elsewhere, it will close down. And so you won't be able to get another chip ISA. Obviously, that could change in the future. But at the moment, they're saying you won't be able to do this. So does it really matter? The chip ISA right now is decent. It's around 4.54%, I think. So way off those top rates available to you. So it's decent enough, but you're not going to be going for it. Is it much of a loss? Well, maybe in the future it could do. Maybe it could have another top of the table rate, and it did for a long time have one of the best rates out there, and other places might not be as good. So if you've had it and moved away, you'd be losing out. But if you have got a lot of money in there, is it worth it just for a short amount of time, just to be risking it when you could be getting some money elsewhere? And again, you can always keep moving to other accounts if that is the case in the future. One thing you could try, though, if you do want to move money out of a chip ISA, is obviously you could take out just £20,000, assuming you've got £20,000 or more in there, and withdraw it rather than transfer it, and pay it into a brand new ISA elsewhere. Now, if you do this, obviously that will take into your new ISA allowance. So if you've already paid in, let's say 15K into an ISA, the most you could transfer out of this chip ISA would be £5,000 to actually withdraw it and put it in rather than follow the transfer process. You start a new financial year and do more of it, but again, it eats up your allowance. So it's not going to be for everyone, but it's certainly something to bear in mind. There are some more rate cuts to share with you as well. And the first one of these is on premium bonds. Now, they've already covered this on YouTube. Amelia did a video last week when it was announced. So you can click over there for more information if you wish. But the headline is the January draw, the prize rate draw will be 4% rather than 4.15%, which was the December draw. So this is the second consecutive cut in consecutive months, bringing it down. And you've got to remember with premium bonds as well, that a 4% prize rate does not mean a 4% interest rate. In reality, you'll be getting less than that. And the less money you have in there, the lower that rate, equivalent rate is going to be, because your chances of winning are going to be far, far, far smaller if you've only got hundreds, even low thousands of pounds in there. Really, you need tens of thousands of pounds to be getting anywhere close to that 4%. Now, of course, don't forget, though, that if you are paying tax on your interest, then premium bonds can be a useful alternative because anything you do win will be tax-free. So if you're an additional rate taxpayer, then that's really a good thing to be thinking about. Though again, still with that idea of having more money in there. And if you are going over your personal savings allowance, and if you use up your ISA allowance because you've got a lot of money in savings, then premium bonds could be worth a go. One thing I do want to quickly say about this though, if you're thinking I've got premium bonds, this is yet another cut, I don't want to stick around with them. Now, at the start of the month, there's a time to sell them and reinvest that cash into savings accounts. If you leave it a couple of weeks or towards the end of the month, then you may as well wait until the start of January, because the prize draw, to be eligible for it, you have to have the money in there for a full calendar month. So take it out now, that's fine. You've only lost a couple of days of interest in a different account. If you wait a few days, well, you've lost not just maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks of interest you could have had in an alternative account, but you're not even in a chance of winning in January. But then make a note in January potentially to withdraw that. The next rate cut to share with you applies to the Barclays Rainy Day Saver, which you can only get if you've got the Barclays Premier current account. If you do, then this account is free to access, although you do need to have a very high salary, £75,000 a year, to be eligible for that current account. Or if you don't have that, you can add the Blue Rewards extra to your normal Barclays current account, which comes at a £5 fee every single month. Now, I did cover this in a review over on becleveryourcash.com and a separate video on the YouTube channel at the weekend, talking about whether it is worth looking at this account. 5.12% on up to 5k, although you do have to pay that fee. Was it worth it? Well, it wasn't worth it, was a short answer there, but it's got even less worth it now, because it's been announced that from the 13th of February 2025, that rate will drop from 5.12% AER to 4.87 AER. So the effective rate, if you are paying the fee, the effective rate of interest on that, if you are have the full £5,000 in there, is 3.56%. 3.56% is not good right now, and I'm pretty confident it's not going to be a good rate come February, maybe March, April, May. Who knows? We'll see what happens elsewhere. If there are a number of cuts to the base rate, then there could be more cuts to this Barclays rate, so it could fall even further. But it's something to bear in mind there. If you are interested in this and how a similar Santander Edge account works, then do check out my video that went out at the weekend. And one more rate cut to share with you. This time is a mix. It's a new account, but the new account is getting rid of an old account. This is with Starling. Now, you might not be thinking of Starling particularly when it comes to savings. It's not something which it offers maybe the best rates out there. Well, this new account that they're going to launch, it should be available now. The Starling website says you can get it right now. My app is saying coming soon still, so I imagine any day now you'll be able to open it. Perhaps it's being rolled out to customers in different times. This is a 4% easy saver. 4% is fine. It's good to see it, and if you want to keep all your stuff in the same place and you like using Starling because it is one of my top current accounts, then 4% is not bad. You'll find it by going into the Spaces section of the app and then open up the Easy Saver there. There are no restrictions like a regular saver or anything like that. It's an all right one, okay? But again, you can beat 4%. However, by introducing this, they are going to get rid of the interest on the normal current account. So this is currently 3.25% on up to £5,000. This will go on the 10th of February 2025. Now again, 3.25% isn't that amazing, but even if you're pretty savvy and you are moving your money to the higher paying accounts when your salary comes in, whether it's a regular saver or just a separate pot, whatever it might be, putting it over there to get higher rates elsewhere, we're still going to have some money in our current accounts, right? Because we've got bills to come, normal spending to come out, there'll still be some money in there, which is why I've quite liked this feature. Even though it's a lower rate, it's better than the nothing you're going to get in pretty much every other current account. But sadly, Starling is going to be joining them in February and paying nothing on in current account balances, which is sad news. The only real alternative right now, which has this feature, is Crew in terms of current accounts. That's currently 3.65%. That is a tracking the base rate at minus 1.1%. So if this is important to you, you might want to consider moving that as your main current account. However, I think there are other features of other accounts which probably edge out on this. I want to quickly get on to an offer and the top rates in a second. But the other thing to quickly share with you is we are after your top savings providers and worst saving providers of 2024. I love a good end of year list. We thought we'd do it for current accounts, savings, and credit cards. If you want to share your vote, you can do this by going to becleverwithyourcash.com/2024. Take you through, show you the links, how you can vote and how you can take part. Want to hear your best and your worst? The deadline for this is the 8th of December. And then at some point after that, we will tell you which ones you have crowned the winners and losers of the year. So we'd love it if you can take part in that and help us out with bringing that list together. Okay, let's move on now to special offers for savings accounts. There's only really one to share with you this month. And this is pretty lucrative potentially if you have £10,000 to save and you can put it away for 6 months and you've not taken advantage of a similar offer already from the savings platform Raisin. Now, I know 10K is a lot of money for the vast majority of people, but some of you will be able to do this, so it's definitely worth sharing it. Now, you have to go via a specific link, which you will find at becleverwithyourcash.com/savings, so make sure you head there if you want to take advantage of it. But effectively, as long as you open up a new account for the first time with Raisin, do as I said, put 10K away for 6 months. So that could be an easy access account, could be a 6-month fix, 9-month fix, 12-month fix, could be a longer fix, whatever you want. But you put it away, then you will get that £100 bonus after 6 months, plus all the interest that's in there already. Now, if you did go for a 6-month fix, that £100 is equivalent on the AER rate of an extra 2%. And obviously, you're not going to be getting that full rate because AER is annual equivalent rate. So you're only doing it for 6 months. But it's just give you an indication when you're comparing it to other rates, that's what it'd be worth, an extra 2%. If you were putting it onto a 12-month fix, then it's the equivalent of an extra 1%. And obviously, you would get that full 1% equivalent, getting £100 anyway, aren't you? Because the AER is over a year. I will take you through in a minute when I go through all the top accounts, which are the highest paying ones right now. So you choose which one to go for. But again, this is only for newer members, newer applicants of Raisin. Okay, on now to the top paying accounts right now on the 2nd of December 2024. These will change, they always change. And as ever, the best place to go in order to see any updates is becleverwithyourcash.com/savings. The best buy tables there, myself and the team are updating it in the morning, in the afternoon, twice a day, if not more, when these changes come through. But I'll give you an idea of what's available right now. And if you're saying, hey, Andy, why is this account not on there? Why is this not on your list? I'm just giving you the ones at the top right now. There are many, many more over in our best buy tables. Let's start with current accounts, shall we, and easy access. The top paying current account saver is still the Santander Edge saver, 6% for the first 12 months, drops down to 4.5% after a year. You do need a Santander Edge current account to get this one. That has a £3 fee, but if you want to get cash back on your bills, that should cover that £3 fee. Or if you don't set up any direct debits, there is a workaround hack, which means that £3 fee is never charged. So you can open up this Edge Saver. And also don't forget, if you have a joint account rather than a solo account, you can open up an Edge Saver each. That's essentially 8K you can save because this one is limited on only £4,000. So it's easy access, but there are those conditions, but it's definitely the top paying one out there right now. In terms of ones with less restrictions, then we have got the Plum Ice that we mentioned just now, that 5.18%. Again, bear in mind, limited to 3 withdrawals a year on that one before the rate drops. Kahoot, this is part of Santander. Their Sunny Day Saver limits you to just £3,000, but you will get 5% on that for a year. So that's another kind of, not an ISA, doesn't mess with your allowances at all. That is a decent option to go for. Then Trading212, their ISA, I told you it was still a competitive one, still a decent one, 4.9%, easy access ISA. And then for a normal, without really any restrictions, savings account, easy access, Atom have 4.85%. So if you have more than the 20K you're allowed to put into an ISA or whatever it might be, you don't want any restrictions, then that is a good one to go for. It's worth mentioning as well that Trading212 do still have their uninvested cash rate. That has also dropped to 4.9%. There are obviously some issues with that one. Very, very low risk, but it doesn't have financial services compensation scheme protection, but you might want to look at that, which is why I'm including it in there. Let's look at notice accounts. As I said, these have all dropped down since last month. The top one here, A 2-month notice, top one is from Monument, that is 5.01%. For a 3-month notice, Streambank is offering 5.05%. And a 4-month notice, Synergy is offering 4.96%. So with notice accounts, as I'm sure you know, you have to say 60, 90, 100 days in advance of when you want to withdraw the money that you want to do that. They are variable though, so the rates could change. But again, they're going to give you notice of when that's going to happen. If we look at fixed rate accounts, and this particularly is where those Raisin offer will come into play a bit more. The top 3-month fix is from Sainsbury's Bank via an app called Prosper. That's offering 4.9%. When it comes to 6 months, the top paying one is from Synergy. That's offering 4.85%. However, if you do have £10,000 to put away, then National Bank of Egypt via Raisin will mean you'll be eligible for that £100 bonus on a rate of 4.7%. Which basically means it's the equivalent of 6.7%. Okay, so that's going to be very, very difficult to beat out there. 9-month fix is also from Raisin. This is QIB via Raisin. Their rate is 4.65% expected profit. Again, you will get that £100 bonus if you save 10K for 6 months. And that's the same case when we go to a 12-month fix. The top one there is Ziract via Raisin, offering 4.8%. Again, that £100 bonus on 10K will work out the equivalent of 5.8%. Then if we look at 2-year fixes, Atom is giving 4.6%. Although again, there is an option via Raisin, Bank of Ceylon at 4.52%. That obviously be £100 will work out at a smaller addition because it's over 2 years rather than the initial 6 months. If you're looking at 3 years, Atom is doing 4.6%, or Al Rayyan via Raisin is doing 4.6%. And again, you can get that bonus if you are eligible. 4-year fix, we are looking at JN Bank 4.51%. 5-year fix, the top one here is Atom 4.6%. As I said, all those ones have increased slightly over the last few weeks. Again, be clever with your cash.com/savings is where you're going to find more options on these different rate lengths. Quickly on regular savers, you've still got that 8% one from Principality Building Society, but only for 6 months. So it's a top one, but personally, I wouldn't be so bothered about it. The better ones are First Direct's regular saver at 7%, Cooperative Bank regular saver at 7%. They both require you to have a current account with them. If you don't want to do that, Principality Building Society does have a 7% Christmas regular saver as well, although there is a lower maximum deposit you can add in every single month. And as ever, it's worth having a look at the ones from Nationwide, Club Lloyds, and NatWest as well, between 6 and 6.5% in terms of adding money in. But again, you are required to have a current account in order to access those. And finally, let's have a quick look at ISAs. The limited access top pick, you've heard this already because the top pick for limited access counts anyway, was the Plum Cash ISA, 5.18%. The top pure easy access cash ISA, Trading212 at 4.9%. And then when we get into the fixes, the top 1-year fix is Castle Trust Bank with 4.52%. The 2-year fix is Hodge Bank at 4.4%. The top 3-year fix is United Trust Bank at 4.38%. The top 4-year fix, UBL, 4.05%. Top 5-year fix, United Trust Bank, 4.18%. And the top lifetime ISA, this has also fallen from last month. This is Doddle by AJ Bell, offering 4.84. This is for uninvested cash in the stocks and shares lifetime ISA. You can get a lower rate than this if you want a pure cash ISA from different providers. But effectively, as long as you're not investing the cash in this one by Doddle, by AJ Bell, then you're not going to get charged any fees. If it's just in there as cash, you'll just get that pure interest rate. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Andy Webb. Check out these videos here for more ways to make the most of your money.